All right. In fact, I got an idea. We'll see who gets here. So here, you just want to be in a place where you can be comfortable in looking at the sky. And we can try it two ways. You can try it sitting, and you can also try it lying on your back. That's a standard procedure. Um, so you can start however you want, yeah. And we'll just see if anybody joins us. But I'll tell you guys, this is actually like, before anyone gets here, I'll tell you, it's actually usually super secret. But I just feel like, what are we being secret for? You know, time is short, and when are we going to hear these things? So, yeah, this is, when they teach this type of meditation in Tibet, almost always they teach it at least part of the time outside. It's like something to do outside and be in this open environment. Sometimes you give, of course, the teachings inside, but when you get ready to do it, you usually get to practice outside because the sky in Tibet's very blue.
Why do you do it outside every time?
It's freezing. That's why.
Why don't? So much of the time
why don't we do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Outside is better.
Yes, we can. Yeah, when the weather's good, we can always do that. Yeah. Maybe we will. Okay, I see one of you has arrived. Welcome. We'll see if anybody else comes. But in the meantime, arrange yourself so you can see the sky. I was just telling these guys, if you're outside and you would like, you can also lie on your back. Totally fine. It's completely acceptable. In fact, there's practices where you go from sitting down to lying on your back, but we're not going to do that today because it's not supposed to be seen. But today we will just train in mingling our mind with the openness of the sky. So sit in a way that is comfortable and that you can see the sky, and contemplate. Gaze into the sky. I'm going to turn a little bit this way. And if you're, well, only one of you, gaze into the sky and just contemplate, you know, how incredibly vast it is. It can hold clouds, it can hold birds, it can hold the wind, and depending on what time of day it is, maybe you can even see other stars and planets. It's incredibly vast. It's infinite as far as we're concerned. So look into the depth of the sky and just become comfortable with that for a second. Notice that the sky is very, very vast, infinitely big. And if you're like us, we're fortunate to have a blue sky for the time being. There's a resonance between that blueness and our own mind nature, which is why you see in some Tibetan paintings, tankas, the ultimate Buddha, Samantabhadra, is dark blue, because there's a nature of dark blueness to the nature of the mind. I see someone asking, this is not Togal, no. But it is related to the practice of Togal, because in Togal also you look at the sky. This is similar. So if you're familiar with Togal, then you can apply your Togal knowledge, but in either way, it doesn't matter. Just gaze into the sky and notice the vastness. At no time is the sky crowded by clouds. At no time is the sky troubled by wind or birds. Airplanes, massive airplanes that can hold 500 people, are tiny in the vastness of the sky. So just tune into that for a second and just allow your mind to settle. Notice that not only is the sky vast enough to hold all kinds of visual objects, physical objects, it can also hold all kinds of sounds. There's a fire center, whatever, fire department area over here, and they had a little bell going off. It can easily hold that. It is not disturbed by sounds. It's not disturbed by the wind. It's not disturbed by any of its content. This is similar to our mind in its essential nature. Our essential nature of our mind is the same. It's incredibly vast. As we were talking before, the problem with our lives is that our minds collapse around objects, both our inner objects of thoughts and emotions and outer objects of the physical world. And when that happens, there's no space. If this is a thought and the mind collapses around it, there's no space. Talk about claustrophobic. Plus, there's no autonomy. If those are nice thoughts, the mind goes up. Oh, it's going to be great. If they're not nice thoughts, it goes down. But either way, it goes up and down. As we say in Buddhism, it goes round and round, and the name for that is samsara, the wheel of birth and death. Birth and death here can mean the physical birth and death of our bodies. It can also mean the birth and death of each individual moment and its happinesses and sadnesses. So long as we're caught in those, then we have no autonomy, we have no freedom, we have no wrong. We are completely at the mercy of our circumstances. And since circumstances are not always on our side, there's no pleasure. Here's a way to step out of that. How? By tuning in to the vastness of the sky. It is said you should put all of your focus into your eyes, and your eyes directly poking into the sky like a spear. There's a special instruction for how to do that, which I will share with you. You look as deeply into the sky as you can, as far out there as possible, and then slowly drag your gaze closer and closer to your nose until your eyes start to cross, and when they start to cross, just suddenly relax. This gives you a vast view. And in that vastness, totally let be. You're going to see all kinds of things. I can see trees, I can see clouds, I can see birds playing. Don't follow those. Just let them arise and let it be. Tune into the spaciousness of your own mind. When the outer sky, through the channel of the eyes, meets the inner sky of your open mind, then it introduces you to the secret sky, which is your true nature. So that is plenty to say. I'm going to point this at the sky for you who have to be inside. Not all the way though. And then we will just meditate for a few minutes. Doesn't like that. Anyway, we'll give it as much of the sky as I can for you guys. There you go. And we'll just meditate on this. And when you get distracted, come back to the vastness and just let be. Okay. Take a little break from that, but don't take a break from being space. Now, if you shift your gaze just to the earth or whatever you see how that feels. You can sit up if you're lying down, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. Take a break. Just see it a different way. And just look at whatever you're looking at. I'm looking at the grass and see, is there any difference? It's possible to experience the same openness no matter what the phenomenal experience is. But that's hard to do without some training on something that's truly vast, which is why we look at the sky. When you look at the sky and you relax into that, it's kind of like you make a circuit, right? Something in you is related to the sky, to the vastness, to the blueness. And when that touches the sky through your eyes, there's like another thing, I don't want to say created, but sort of exposed. And that's something that never changes. It's our actual nature. That's the so-called secret sky. And when we know that, we can remember it anytime. That's our true way of being, our true nature. But our habit is to collapse around any kind of thing. And as soon as we collapse around something, then we can only like it or dislike it or try to ignore it. But when we train in being that openness, whatever happens passes just like all these birds right through our mind, just the way the birds pass through the sky. No ripple, no trail. In a sense, you realize through this practice, I should say it's possible to realize that you, with all your stuff, only arises when you collapse around an object. Before that, you don't really exist. You're more like a field of possibility. So our training as meditators is to again and again remember our original nature, our true face, which doesn't have any characteristics. It's just openness, space for the world, space for our own thoughts, our own emotions. In the same way they say, I'm not a horse trainer, but they say that if you have a wild horse and you put it in a small corral, it goes crazy. But if you put it in a big field, it chills out immediately. Same thing here. When we remember, oh, over here is just like the blue sky, completely open. Immediately our emotions, thoughts, they aren't as confined. They're not bouncing around as hard. There's less claustrophobia, less freak out. And the content is not so important. You're not trying to change one good thought into a bad thought. Hopefully not. One bad thought into a good thought. You're just being space. And like everything, it just dissolves again and again. Freedom, openness, no center. We're sitting right now in Wash Park, Washington Park, middle of Denver. Beautiful park, great big park. I don't know how big it is, but maybe a mile long, half a mile wide, something like that. Go ahead and write your question. No, it's fine. Write it now and then I'll answer it best I can. This park is very vast. And in this park, lots of things are happening. People are meditating. People are walking. I see people running. I see people biking. There are all kinds of things going on. I can see someone over there in a hammock. There are people doing all kinds of things. There are animals doing all kinds of things. This is like our mind. When our mind is vast, anything can happen. There's a sense of possibility there. And we can have this right now, anytime. We just have to remember who we really are. Who are we? Open space for the world. Who aren't we? Things. Things in opposition to each other. When you remember that, then everything gets easier. Things settle down, just like the horse in the big field. If you have questions online, you can write them. And if anybody has a question here, then of course you can say it, and we can try. Dan, I know you're harboring tons of questions. Just kidding. Dan doesn't have any questions. He knows everything. Okay. Whenever I hear sirens, I have a habit of wanting to recite Medicine Buddha mantra. When doing meditation like this, wouldn't it be more appropriate just to continue resting in the self-liberated space? You know, what's interesting? You can rest in the self-liberated space while you say mantras. It's kind of amazing, but it's definitely possible. I have heard a story from someone close to my teacher, Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche. And when I met Tulku Urgyen the first time, he was sitting on his bed saying mantras. And that was what he did all the time. Most Tibetan Lamas, they say mantras continuously. And someone came to him and said, you're always talking about resting in emptiness and stuff, and yet you're always saying mantras. Like, what's going on? He said, well, when I'm resting in emptiness, my mouth is not busy. Yeah, the point being, it's completely fine. You hear sirens? Of course you have compassion in your heart. You know that those are not usually good sounds. They're not harboring something good. So, of course, naturally, the mantra can arise, whatever mantra it might be. Om Mani Padme Hum, for instance. May compassion for beings, feeling love for them, may they be okay. Maybe the Medicine Buddha mantra. That can happen spontaneously. Just like when I say, what did you have for breakfast? Something comes up. It's not like you went to a drawer in your mind and opened it and got out what you had for breakfast, right? It just spontaneously appears. The thing here is not to collapse around your experience. The problem is not having thoughts, having emotions, saying mantras, responding to situations. We need to have that responsiveness. If we don't, then we're just like a piece of wood. That doesn't help anything, right? We need to be responsive. But we don't need to grab it so hard that we have to put it in the category of I like this, I don't like this. Do you understand what I mean? This is like the secret point. That's why we train in looking at the sky, because the sky can hold everything, just like we can hold everything. Any kind of thought, any kind of emotion, any kind of past experience, even traumatic experiences can come up and be liberated. Just keep your mental hands off them. That is hard to do, but that's the way to do it. Good question. Somebody said, yeah, I read it. Yeah. You're welcome. It's very important to practice this somewhat regularly if you can. We're blessed in Colorado, the sky's blue like 300 days a year, so you can look at the blue sky anytime. If you're in Seattle or someplace where it's more cloudy, then do it when you can. But if you can try to do it regularly, you will notice it has a very big effect on your heart. It can loosen bonds. We live in a very small world, in our mental world, very narrow, right? This can help you to widen the blinders, maybe even take them off entirely. And whatever comes up in these practices, don't respond too strongly. You can have kind of hard experiences sometimes, not so much, but you can also have very great experiences. If you have hard experiences, don't take it too seriously. It'll pass. Try to be spaced for that. In the same way, if you have really good experiences, whatever, magical things happen, just be spaced for that. The more spacious, the better, the easier. The less spacious, the more trouble, the more friction. So just be spacious. If you want to enhance this practice, you can do it the same way we enhance our practice anytime, which is with different syllables. The one for this practice is ah. You look into the sky and you think, I'm so glad I don't have to do anything. Ah. Then you find you get distracted. Thoughts of work come up, and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do about that meeting? And this is going to be such a pain, and I really hate that guy, whatever's coming up. As soon as you notice, as soon as your mindfulness kicks in and you recognize, oh, I'm having a bunch of thoughts, I'm getting collapsing around my experience, then again, ah. Anybody else has a question, please write it out. And, how are you guys doing this? You digging what is happening here? It's cool, isn't it? And it's like a very powerful thing to do. That sometimes you can't get that same sense of openness when you practice inside. There's a real correspondence between the blue sky and the nature of our own awareness. There's an old Zen story. Not really a story, just an anecdote, but someone came to see a Zen master and said, "How do I get enlightened? What's the real secret?" And the Zen master said, "Getting enlightened is extremely easy, only don't have preferences." This is about training in that. Don't have any preferences. Whatever happens, totally fresh, totally easy. Space for that. When you train in this, then it's easier to do in your life. You know, and then something comes up, it's something disagreeable. You have more time before you start trying to shove it away, right? Before you get angry about it. Same thing with something coming up that's pleasurable. Can be space for that. This changes your relationship to experience and can make things like very different in your life. Very profound. So use this as much as you can. You can do it looking at a cloudy sky. You can do it sitting in your room. You just have to tune into the space in the room. You can do it, as I said, in complete darkness. If you're intrigued by dark retreat, this is the thing you do in dark retreat. You just sit, gaze into the nothingness of the sky of the blackness. You can do this in your own room at night if you want. And recognize, in this spaciousness, anything can happen. Totally open, no boundary. And whatever appears, don't grab it. Especially in the dark, all kinds of stuff appears. Don't grab it, just be space for that. I am practicing Dzogchen, primarily Togal, but still do Guru Yoga. Thoughts about this? The essence of Togal is Guru Yoga. If you're not doing Guru Yoga, you're not practicing Dzogchen. As Longchenpa said, the lineage of blessings is essential. It is the only way to recognize the ultimate nature. So if you have received these instructions on great perfection practices like Togal, embrace it within devotion, much more powerful. Do it as a mechanical practice, almost no value. So keep going.
Can you say more about preferences?
Yeah, don't have any. Just kidding.
I have this rise of defensiveness there.
I have preferences.
I've done so much work on releasing preferences.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also I can have a fucking preference.
Yeah, of course.
I just can't be attached to it.
She's asking about preferences if you can't hear.
I can request, you can ask for whatever you want. You just have to be okay if you don't get it. It's kind
Sure,
of
of course. I mean, we are humans in this world, right? And we have to have preferences. Otherwise, life doesn't work. The looser we can be about it, the easier things will go. Because we have so little real control. You know? I mean, no matter how clever you are, even Anthony Robbins is getting older, and he's the king of this stuff, right? He's the master of the secret of manifesting all this stuff. But even he's having, he has his own troubles and stuff. I assume, I don't know. But it's very, very important to recognize that we can only do something right now. We cannot do something tomorrow. And assessing how we did in a day of not having preferences is not all that valuable. In this moment, we have really two choices. We can grab, and as soon as we do that, we have the issues, right? We like it, we don't like it, or we don't care about it. There's only those things, all of which are painful. We have that tendency to do that automatically. The more mindfulness we have, the more awareness we're participating in, the more present we are, the easier it is to allow that. Because if you think about this, right, you're about to grab something. Something comes up. You've got a choice. The hand has to open in order to close. In that openness, you can find this sense of freedom. And that's just right now. Of course, we're going to have preferences, right? I personally hate corn. I like polenta. I like grits, but I do not like corn on the cob. I know, I'm a weirdo. What can I do? But, so if someone serves me corn, I feel depressed. The problem is not that, right? That's a reaction, right? If someone pokes me with a pin, I also feel, right? I have aversion. The issue is in that very instant, you get this choice. So don't take it too seriously if you still have preferences. Everyone does. If you didn't have preferences, you could not live, right? You wouldn't know which was the accelerator and which was the brake. Try to get home, very hard, right? So it is, although it's completely natural, we are kind of going against our nature of maybe in the follow through, right? The earlier you catch it, the less graspy there is. That energy toward the preference can actually be seen as a kind of unfolding bliss. It's the problem is when it lands, right? It's not the energy moving. Energy, no problem. It's when it lands, then we have this thing. So of course you have a preference, like there's a piece of cake, you feel the draw, in the middle of that you get a choice if you're paying attention enough. And then there you can be freed. Even in the desire can free itself, right? The collapse around it is what we're kind of working with. It's a subtle thing. And beating yourself up because you have preferences, you might as well beat yourself up because you have hair, or something else, like because you have 2 eyes and not 5. Or like, what can you do, right? We whatever arises, we want to be space for that. It doesn't mean we also don't act on it. On some level, we might also act. We just want to recognize as much as we can our inherent spaciousness. The more we do that, the more freedom there is, less claustrophobia, less driven we are by circumstances.
And it feels like also like being in choice. I think that there can apply also to like situations of falling down into a rabbit hole of like nostalgia or missing someone or like wanting this thing. Like I feel like if I can be in choice about it and be like, oh, do I want to go down there? No, I don't. Like that's the space.
You get 60 opportunities in every finger snap to do just that. The problem is we're so habitual that we're already falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
But we still, even in the middle of doing it, all it takes is a little bit of openness. And it can release that patterning a little bit. It's a long process to untie all these knots. But it can occur, definitely. Good question. That's like practical application question. Very good. We are going to finish now, and we will not join again tonight because the walk was a little longer than I thought over here. So we will finish. Thank you for joining. Be spacious and be open. That is the secret of all meditation at its heart. It's not focusing on one thing and excluding everything else. We already know how to do that. It's being completely open. Hosting Kempo Yeshe. Yes, Kempo Yeshe will give the lung for the Trieshe Lama, but it's being moved to October, I think. So I will let you know. If you're on our mailing list, then you will receive information about that. Let's just be open for a second. If you can see the sky, glance at it. If not, just be spacious right now. Good. Let's dedicate the merit. By this merit may all attain omniscience, having defeated the enemy wrongdoing from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of samsara may I free all beings. Thank you for being here. If you have the opportunity, please make a donation. The information is not in here right now, but it's in all of our other podcasts. I want to support the studio that hosts us every week and has for years, and this is the way we do it. And it's also, the give and take is good for your practice. Meanwhile, practice hard, don't get too distracted, and we'll see you next week.